Pardon me while I finish chewing my cold pizza. Give me just 1 second here. Okay. Welcome back to the relaunch live streams. I now go do my live streams. I was doing it at 9 o'clock. I'm going to do it sometime between 4 and 5, hopefully. I originally planned to do it at I think 3 o'clock, but then I didn't get up till late, so now I moved it to 5, so here we are. And the subject for today is Linux Mint. And what are we going to do? We're going to come over here. First thing we're going to do is, first thing I want you to notice is, hey, look at this. We're now running the fish shell. Okay. So let's do this. FH. What happens is the fish shell we should be able to configure it here on the web. Okay, so let's do colors. Okay, let's see if we can find something funky here to really test it out. Let's try this. See, we're supposed to be able to configure it. Let's do this. This will be obvious. Yeah, what's supposed to set L. Okay, so we're supposed to be able to configure this. So it says set L. So it did add something. All right, so you may not spend too much time on this. Let's do an LA. Okay, this isn't a very good color scheme at all. Let's try to set it again. Colors. What's something we're going to be able to see, right? Let's test this. Okay. So we scroll down or something and then set theme. Okay. So this does say now you see it's doing all this stuff here. Alright? But it isn't actually. Let's try something darker. So we're supposed to be able to set the theme here. Now I'm not going to spend too much time on this, because you saw it said we had a set theme option. Okay, let's just try it. And we're supposed to let's try something a little more obvious. Let's try something a little less subtle. Okay, this. Set prompt. Okay, so that part did work. Good. See if it sticks. It does stick, but we still need to change the theme because we can't read the background. Okay. So let's come back over here again. Let's close this. What we want to do, we want to change the theme to something we can actually see. Something we can also actually see a difference in, just to confirm it's working, okay? So let's do this again. You'll see it didn't actually change it apparently didn't actually change the theme, did it? Okay. Okay. But let's do this. Can we come up here? So this is kind of hard to see. All right. Let's do this. So we can do this. Now, one thing you notice about fish is that it let's go over here. And let's show hidden files, right? Let's see. As always, don't be bashful. Stop by the chat session and say hi. And there's the main config. Okay. So let's come back over here. Skip, skip, skip. Okay. See, the trouble there is it's too dark. Oh, hey, how you doing, friend? Thanks for stopping by. So what part of the world are you from? 'Cause I'm not recognizing it. The language doesn't look like Arabic. So what part of the world are you from? You're from Russia? Well, what time is it? So where does this talk about themes? I live in the U.S. state of Ohio. U.S. state of Ohio, okay? And it's about 5:18 p.m. here on Thursday, October the 16th. Good grief. Are you just getting off work, or are you getting ready to go to work? Okay. So anyway, what I'm doing is I'm trying to tweak my bash, my fish theme. Well, I've been using Linux since the last century. And okay, yeah, I started using Linux in the late '90s, early 2000s, and it's a lot of fun. For me, it's a lot of fun to work with. Uh, I don't use it it's not my daily driver. I don't use it as my regular productive box, but you know, right now, I started out using Slackware Linux. That's still installed in the virtual machine. This is Linux Mint, which is Linux Mint is basically Ubuntu with a nice desktop on it. Uh, I also recently looked at what's called Ghost BSD. That's a version of BSD Linux, and a couple things like that. Okay, so it's you know, the reason I got interested in Linux was because of all the things you had with it, all the free things, you know, programming languages, databases, web servers, you know, mail servers. You had all these you know, server applications you could run on your local machine. You know, I used to run a website off a dial-up connection back in Colorado. But anyway, yeah, so it's fun. It's fun. I don't think it's ready for prime time. Uh, you know, just for various reasons. But oh, hey, Colin, hi there. Thanks for stopping by. Could you explain the differences between shells? I get fish has more features, but I get it verbally. I have no idea what these features are. Okay. You know, the shell, the most common shell in all flavors of Unix is either the bash shell. Okay, it's called the bash shell. It doesn't, for instance, you can't configure your theme in your terminal window in bash. The advantage to fish is that it has things like command completion. Let's see if we can do a command completion here. So I can say fish, and now based on my last request, I'm sorry you can't see it. I haven't figured out how to put a lighter theme on there yet, but preferences. Can we do that? Profile. Let's see if we can change colors. Tango dark. Built-in theme. Okay. Install drivers for my video card. Huh. You know, try, well, obviously the key phrase is Ubuntu. So this is a flavor of, Kubuntu is a flavor of Ubuntu. This is a flavor, this is also Ubuntu. Yes, that's exactly what it does. Yeah, it does. So fish gives you command completion. Okay. It's also very highly configurable. What you can do is you configure your terminal themes. The prompts, you can see this. I got the prompt portion to work. Okay, because I changed my prompt, but you can't see over here because it's not a very good theme. Okay. But anyway, so and fish uses a config file. Okay, and you can use it to configure your theme for your prompts and your theme and other things for your terminal windows. Uh, you know, I take a little different view of Windows. Uh, you know, it you know I'm not a hardcore open source guy. You know, I'm not open source. My motto is not open source or death. You know, I have no trouble whatsoever with using Windows. I use like SQL Server and Excel and Power Query quite a bit. You know, I don't have a problem with that. I mainly got into Linux because a friend said, "Oh man, you got to try this Linux out, man. It's got programming languages, it's got database servers, web servers. It's got all these incredible tools. You got to try this out." And so I did. Okay. Like I told the other gentleman, you know, anyway, back to your question about drivers. Normally, Linux recognizes most drivers. Okay. And if it doesn't recognize your drivers, you could probably find someone to tell you how to recognize your drivers. Okay, but I use very standard hardware. There's nothing unique. The laptop. This is a virtual machine. This is Oracle Virtual Machine. It's run on top of a HP i5 laptop, 32 gigabytes of RAM, and 2 terabytes of data. Okay, and the Oracle Virtual Machine, I give it 16 gigabytes of RAM and 4 processors. Okay, so I don't run any high-end software. I don't run high-end GPUs and stuff like that. This laptop here is maybe 5 or 6 years old. But the main thing is you can see here I'm trying to configure the fish shell. I mean, it used to be you had bash and you had ZSH and you had CSH. Okay, CHH was a C shell. Its syntax was similar to the C programming language, if I recall properly. I want to figure out how to change the theme appearance so we can actually read the directory name. But let's try some. Now, one thing about Linux Mint, I don't see, okay, any virtual desktops, which is kind of strange. But let's go over here. I mean, here's the other Linux. There is no open source equivalent of Microsoft Office. You know, LibreCalc is still, in my opinion, is still a distant second from Microsoft Excel. Okay, there is no open source there is no open source version of Power BI or Tabula. Okay. What else? Oh, by the way, if you're having trouble in, so tell me, Cahoyan, what part of the world are you from? Now the reason, I don't do heavy shell scripting. I used to do a few aliases, and that was about it. What I want to know now is, you're in Bulgaria, but the other gentleman's actually from Russia. Okay, I'm planning on live streaming about 5 p.m. New York time every day now. Open Office. I had, originally there was what's called Star Office. Then I think Open Office, and then I believe LibreOffice is a fork of Open Office, I believe. There's two things that LibreCalc is missing that which are very important. That is database connectivity and Power Query. You don't have a Power Query, anything equivalent to Power Query in LibreCalc, and you don't have anything. There's no database connectivity, and that's the whole point. Now, if I can't connect to databases, then it's like, how am I going to get my data out? So, so Open Office, LibreOffice, those two things is I think is what makes Excel a killer app. Database connectivity and Power Query. Okay. How do I like? Now the other thing is AI is our friend. You know, if you, someone said earlier they were having problems with getting drivers to work. You know, ask AI how to install for that. You make sure you know what system that your Linux is running on. Yeah, but I think Google Docs is every bit as good as LibreOffice. Okay, and that's the point. But it still doesn't have Power Query. It still can't. Interesting enough. In Google Sheets, at least, you can connect directly to a BigQuery database, which is kind of interesting. And of course, you can access Google Docs from any computer because it's web based, right? Okay, you got that. So let's do this. Let's try to save our so down here is our theme. Okay. All right. Huh. Yeah. Like I say, my equipment's very boring. It's very generic. So let's do this. Let's do a C source. See, I can't even see what I'm typing because it's. Yeah, so this isn't good. I still can't see the. So anyway, let's move on to something else. Okay, let's try to. So do you guys do any Python programming? Are you guys familiar with what's called a Python package project manager called UV? It's the latest, greatest thing on the market. It's built in Rust. It's compiled, so it's really short. Let's see if we can install that. Well, that's a little disappointing. What else? Let's install Emacs. Yes, we want to install Emacs. So any of you guys a Linux or a Emacs person? Are you Emacs? So we'll just have a little fun here and install a couple things, okay? Please select a mail server that meets your need. No configuration. That's interesting. Is try to configure mail server for Emacs. While it's running, let's come over here to GitHub. Let's do this. No. Let's try this. UV Packet Manager. GitHub. Other packer, so UV is a virtual environment package manager. It does things. You may be familiar with what's called Anaconda or Miniconda, or you may have used what is it, the virtual Python environment installs and management. So we go over here, pip install UV. Interesting. Oh, okay, we have to install pip. So let's do So it's harder to switch from one Linux version to another, you mean? So interesting enough. Okay, so let's install pip. Then we can install, then I'll give you a quick demonstration of how to use UV. UV is a much smaller, it seems to be a much smaller install than say Conda or Anaconda. Of course, Python has its own built-in virtual management. What's it called? Environment is externally managed. Install Python packages system-wide. Try pip install. If you wish to install a non. Interesting. If you wish to install a non-Debian package, okay, let's try it a different way. Let's try it up here. Install UV with our standalone installers. So this bin. So we want to append this. just see if UV works right now. Okay, good. Source, home, backslash, so we're going to do var fish, okay, local okay. Okay, so now we got UV installed, okay? And again, I apologize, I need to fix the, I need to fix the theme for this, for my monitor so we can actually see what's going on. But anyway, basically, to use UV, you'd say UV init. We're going to say, we're going to create a directory called PyCars, okay? Then we're going to come over here, okay? And if I can remember, it's the UV add, all right? And the thing about UV is, as you can see, it's like blazing fast. I mean, it's just like blazing fast, all right? It's done. It's already installed pandas and NumPy, okay? So we can come up here like this and say, oh, well, let's do this. Let's try something a little bigger. I mean, look how fast this is installing, okay? Although, in interest of full disclosure, I'm really more of a R programmer than a Python programmer. Okay, so this installed, as you can see, it's a fairly large, the install for Jupyter is a fairly large install, a lot of dependencies. You can see, 106 packages, 2 minutes 35 seconds, I guess. So as you can see, is that using UV is just crazy fast. Okay. With that, my friends, I'm going to bring this session to a close. I'll be back tomorrow I'm going to say about 5 p.m. But if you click the bell icon, you'll be notified whenever I upload new content or go live. And of course, I'd appreciate a like and a thumbs up, a like and a subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thanks so much for you two guys for stopping by. Hope everything's well for you in Russia and also in Bulgaria. Thanks so much for people showing up.